Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Howl. My name is Connor Durkin, and today I sat down with head Hersey football coach Joe Pardun to have a little season recap. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Howl. My name is Connor Durkin. Today I am joined by Coach Pardun once again to do a season recap of the Hersey Football 2021 season. Coach, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you for coming on.
You bet.
So this podcast is obviously just a little different than the ones we've done this year just because it's basically a recap of the entire season. So I just wanted to hop right into it here. The first question I have, pretty simple one. What would you say is your favorite part of the season or your favorite moment?
Oh, boy. I don't know. That's tough. I mean, we started off so strong. We had two big wins early, which I thought really set the tone. And you never know what you are until you get in competition. So those two big wins to start the season, I thought they were fun, and getting to 7-0 was a great feeling. I mean, we were rolling, but obviously not the way we wanted it to end. So it's a dichotomy of the ups and downs of the sport, and but overall, it's a season I'll definitely look back on with positive memories.
Yeah, definitely. Would you say you have like a highlight play that stuck out to you? Just one you remember?
There actually, I hate to go back to week one, but it's like in week one, when we started that game again, you're so nervous. We had to drive down to Lincoln. We were playing a good team. We don't know what we are, but our goals are so high. And I remember Claw broke one to the left and then cut all the way across the field. And Braden Smith was like waving him in. And I told Braden, I said it was at that time like I knew we had something special because their field presence, like for to be in week one and that you could just tell they liked playing together. Braden's waving him in the end zone. Clausen's cutting back across the field. They were just comfortable. Like they were just comfortable in that environment, and that showed me a lot. So I was at that point. I'm like, oh, we have something special here.
Yeah, those long plays are always kind of my favorite. When like they break away and there's just open field.
Yeah,
it's always just so satisfying to watch, I think. One thing I noticed this season, unfortunately there were a lot of injuries this year, on the offense and defense. We talked about this a little bit in the last podcast, but I think one thing that we do take for granted is just how deep I think Hersey football's roster is compared to some of the other schools. If you could, who would you say are some people that really stepped up into those roles once some of those key guys went down?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. When I talk about that play, it's hard to, Clausen was such a leader for us and is a leader. And to watch the frustration and the pain he had to go through, it's like a loss of anything. Like you kind of go through the grieving process, honestly, because, it's so important to us and to him. And he did such a great job responding to that. But it was, all year there's some years when we'll go into week 9 and we have every single kid dressed, and this was not one of those years. And so we, that was a little difficult to deal with. I thought, when we lost Claw, which, was an all-state player, and again, Braden Smith, but all the seniors, Braden and Carl Quist, on the receiving crew, and even Jimmy, losing his favorite target. They all kind of, our offensive line did an amazing job of growing from where they were in the summer to where they finished it, this fall. And so it was just a collective effort, and our defense, kind of rising and carrying us at times, which with our offense, we just wanted to gel better. So all of those things added into it.
Yeah, I mean, and even though, like you said, Clausen went down, when I was in the booth, same with Bonji too, near the end of the season, they were always on the sideline cheering him on, being the great leaders that they are too, and I think that's an important skill to have too.
Yeah, and Bonji, it was funny, all the papers and reporters and stuff kept saying, boy, Bonchi really stepped into that role after Clausen is like, no, that was Bonchi's role.
Yeah.
Like, Bonchi's a warrior. I would tell him that every week. Like, that kid's just a straight warrior. Humble, hardworking, tough. And honestly, at the end of the year, when he got hurt, I think that took a little out of us. I mean, we lost, God, nobody gave up or anything like that. It's just, you lose one of your brothers like that, and it's emotional.
Oh, for sure.
It was emotional for me because, I'm just so close with these guys. But, yeah, I mean, that's why Bonchi stepped up. I'm like, no, like, Bonchi was going to do that anyways.
Yeah.
It's just he had to carry a little bit more of the load, but he's a tremendous player.
I feel like that's just how it always is. You don't really expect when you have someone like Clausen, then once you finally realize, like when you have someone like Bonchi enter the spotlight, just how special those guys are.
Exactly. And they're special players for sure.
And then a lot of young guys, too, probably got some more experience, having to step up. Because this was such a senior-heavy team.
It was.
How do you think that experience is going to help you guys for the upcoming seasons?
Yeah, I think it will. Obviously, we got some of our underclassmen got some touches. I mean, geez, we put a freshman running back in the game.
Meister looked great, by the way.
Meister looked good. He looked very comfortable. Definitely a competitor. The game was not too fast for him. No, all the coaches, we saw it in practice all week. We were like, oh, well. This kid can play. And then, I thought Stearns did a good job kind of battling through all year and just playing key roles for us. And Grove, obviously a young kid, sophomore, who started touching the ball more. And so it'll be interesting, when we still got, some guys who are still coming off injury. So Nasir McKenzie will be back. He's going to be a bright young star. So just... we got more guys reps, and our offensive line, we got some big, younger guys coming through, so it'll be interesting.
And while we're on the topic of the team being so senior-heavy, what would you say really embodies this senior class, or something that has always stood out to you over their 4 years on the team?
I'll tell you, it's pretty easy. They're extremely dependable. I never had to chase them around. I never had to question, them. They stuck together, which I tell freshman class all the time, like, stick together, like, and I don't just mean, like, physically, but stay with it. Like, numbers are power in football, and they were telling me at one of the team dinners this year, like, Coach, we only had 2 kids quit in our 4 years. Like, that's pretty remarkable because the retention rate like that is just not common. So they stuck with it. They knew their role, and there was no drama with them, honestly. Like, there was never any drama. Like, football drama is not, kids not being here or kids having to get on. I just didn't have to deal with it. They knew what they wanted. They worked hard for it. It's tough because we didn't quite finish where we knew we could have, and that's going to be hard for us to. But we'll look back on it just with such a proud of this group, of what they were able to overcome and accomplish for sure.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I noticed just talking to some of the seniors, just their confidence, even just going into the season. Their goal was to go all the way to state, which I'm sure was yours too. Mm-hmm. They're like, yeah, we're going to win state. We believe in ourselves, and that goes a big way too, just having that mindset, that winner's mentality mindset.
And they did. And, I know every coach would say, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But we did. We all believed it. We talked all summer about our vision, and I believed that we had the talent to do it. Again, you come up short. That's sports. You get it. There's a lot of factors that go into teams and sports, and a lot of things that people don't see. But no, I was proud of them for having that confidence, but they deserved it. I mean, they worked really hard for it. Like I said, all those other things added into that confidence because they cared and they worked and they were always there and doing what they had to do. That does create confidence. When you're prepared, you're confident.
Is there anyone in this senior class that you say is the most vocal, or are they all pretty equal?
It's definitely not Bonch.
Yeah, he is quiet.
He's the quiet leader, which we joke with him about. But that's his leadership style. There's tons of different leadership style, and he was always a lead by example type guy. But when he spoke, people listened. Vocally, I mean, on our line, like Alex Jalaka kind of took care of the linemen more. Cataldo on the defensive line, type thing, and Jimmy. I mean, again, when you look at the leadership of the group, and Claw was the leader of our leaders, I would say. But when you look at that group, they were just strong collectively. So it was almost like we didn't need this leader or that leader. Like they all believed in the same thing. They all did the same thing. That's what made them easy to coach.
Yeah, and obviously I know it's super early, but for the guys who aren't seniors, what do they do during the off season to stay sharp? And do you talk to them much, or is it mainly just up to them?
They're lifting as we speak. So our weightlifting program goes year round. It's definitely part of the secret of our success. Just making sure that guys buy into what it takes, because again, whether it's injury prevention or success in other sports, or just keeping a routine and the discipline that you learn in the weight room and the togetherness of the team, like that's where it all happens. Like that's just where it happens. And so, it's a cycle that kind of starts itself over, but they're going, and, it'll take them some time, but they'll adjust.
Yeah. I feel like off season is almost like a trap. Like if you really think about it, there really is no off season, especially for a sport like football. You got to, stay with it. And like you said, lifting's a big part of it, a big part of your guys' success. You got to stay healthy, keep that diet going even during the off months.
It's probably the most important part of it, honestly. Anybody can show up, in June, July, August and try and play football, but it just doesn't work that way. And it's a physical sport. It's a sport about speed and strength. I mean, you can't make guys 6'3", right? But you can take what you have and you can put some pounds on it and some muscles, and it helps. It's a physical game, so it'll help keep you healthy and successful. So we've had a lot of schools that try to replicate what we do, and we're proud of that. And it's been a good system for us, and we have to continue to improve it and keep it going. But it takes guys to buy into it too.
Yeah, that's great with the off-season stuff, because I feel like there's so many. You look at college and the NFL, there's so many teams where you could they came off a great year, and then look at the Buccaneers, for example. They won the Super Bowl. They were partying like crazy afterward, and now they're sort of struggling this mid-season to late season a little bit, and that's probably because the off season took for granted. But
yeah, I mean, and I'll tell you, football, it's a very I talk to the kids all the time. There's such a fine line between winning and losing. It's not easy. It's not easy because there's so many people involved. You think, oh, you just have this great player or this great player, and yeah, that helps. But you got to have everything clicking together, and you need a lot of people on the same page who want the same thing. When you get that, now you got something. But it's a challenge.
And then sort of switching topics here, I didn't want to talk about the Jacobs game too much, but just a little bit. Jacobs ran a lot of weird stuff. They had the 3 backs, right? Mm-hmm. Pretty much all running, and it was raining too, so you guys were running a little bit too. So it was very ground heavy, I think, for that.
It was. They were a good football team. Someone asked me, did you take them for granted? I was like, I never take any football team for granted. Absolutely not. They were just a different style in their conference. They play a different style of football. One that we can play with, no question. It's just, again, I think, the factors that went into that night, we had to adjust without Bonch. We lose him the week before. That's a big adjustment for us. And then the weather played a factor because, we throw the ball, not exclusively, obviously, but, it's how we gain yards. We didn't have Braden that night. So that was another thing, and just hard for us to control the ball and get in a rhythm then. When you can't do that, and losing Bonchi on defense too, you know. So sophomore Flom did a good job stepping in, and but it was there was a tough team to play when you're coming off a tough week, an emotional week, a couple injuries, and the weather factor. Like, yeah, it's going to make a difference.
You said so the whole conference of Jacobs plays like that, or just them?
No, but a lot of majority of the schools in their conference play a little bit more
it's just
condensed.
A different playing style.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some triple option stuff.
Yeah.
More run oriented, not a spread offense as much as you see in our conference, and that's typically kind of how it goes in the state. A lot of times you'll see conferences kind of grow and move together, and just because you're competing against those same teams every single year, and that's football. So, and the coaches, you got coaches connected through the area, and that's just kind of how you learn to defend them, and then this is the style you're going to play against them.
When you play a team like that it's not really trickery, but it's a little different. What's like the message you give your guys beforehand?
Football's still football, right? So it's like, what are the things that win games? And you can go back to that game, and it's the same recipe all the time. It's turnovers, it's breaking tackles and making tackles, and it's preventing big plays and making big plays. Those are the big things that win football games. However you look at it, like we've broken down a million games. I like data. I tell the kids all the time, like, you want to win the turnover battle, win the tackling battle, win the big play battle. If you do those things, you're going to win. So that doesn't change. It's just how we align, what we're trying to stop, who we're trying to stop is the biggest thing.
And then I heard from some of my friends, they were at the Prospect Jacobs game. Prospect did get the win, so now they are the last team in our conference that's in it now, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I know it's not what we wanted. It's Prospect, but
no, I'm happy for them. They're a good football team too. I said that at the beginning.
Yeah.
You're jealous, obviously, but that's part of life. And I know some of those kids, and I know they're good kids. They work hard, and you always want to see that. So, and they've had to overcome some adversity there too.
Yeah,
so,
they've had some injuries.
Yeah, and they got a really strong defense. There's no question. So we'll see what they can do. I know we wish it was us, but our time will come.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have for question-wise, but I do want to make a quick statement to the viewers and to you. This is my last Hersey Football Podcast, as I am a senior. So, thank you to the viewers for watching this for the past 3 years, which is crazy to me because, this used to only be audio too, and we were able to add the video aspect and all that. So we were one of the first podcasts here to do that, and now we got so many other sports kind of jumping on the bandwagon a little bit. We did a golf podcast this year.
Nice.
We've got basketball coming up soon with Coach Scott. So, we're just adding on to it. But I just want to say thank you to you too, Coach, because, our podcast sort of started that. So
yeah, right?
Really
I love that when we can be the pioneers and try and do things better. You do, and I don't just say this to your viewers, but people who watch you at home and my friends, I've told you this, and watch your game calling, and I listen to some of the kids in the playoffs, and I think you're the best. I think you do a great job. You're going to have a bright future. I'm excited. I can't wait to be listening to you years down the line and see what you're going to do. So thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It really means a lot. So with all that being said, for the last time here to our viewers, thank you for watching. Basketball Season Podcast coming soon. Thanks for sticking around these 3 years watching this. We'll see you soon.